Through the prayers of Holy Fathers of Jesus Christ, your God, have mercy on us and save us. Amen. Let's check here for audio issues. I think it's working. If it's not, let me know. But in any case, let's get started. As you can see, I'm trying out a different tack. We usually call this the live Q&A show, where you can get your questions, comments, challenges, try to challenge us. But it seems like there's not enough people who want to challenge us, and I thought maybe live Q&A, your questions and comments sounds too mean. So I thought I'd go with the Super Friendly Friends show, which I hope will make people think that we're safe and not dangerous, and so they'll come out and attack. See what I'm saying? So it'll be like it's only like it's a cover. So that's my goal. Like maybe they'll be like, oh, he's thinking he's super friendly, huh? And they'll come on and attack. Yeah. All right, let's read the questions and comments we got so far. First on the list, I gotta say, so Lotus, thank you. God bless you. Thank you for your, constant support. I really appreciate the constant support we get from the channel, from our channel members, because frankly, this is kind of like what I do full time. So if I don't get any help, I die. So okay. So let's see what's going on here. Let's read these comments. Atomic League starts off with this looks charitable and nuanced. You see, that was my plan. My plan was if I look charitable and nuanced, then they might come on ready to attack. All right, and so this is Christ is risen, Holy Fathers and brothers, and I will skip, I'll come back up, but I will say there is a public service announcement from John MC, who points out that this Thursday is the Ascension. There was a bit of confusion there on my part, my brain being addled by things to do. So yes, Wednesday night, we stopped saying Christ is risen because technically he's no longer risen, he has ascended. And there is a quasi tradition of people saying he is ascended but don't know when to stop or start. You just don't have to say Christ is risen anymore. Okay, so let's go back. John Zeke says, Christos Knesset, indeed he is risen. Really is risen, Christ is risen, and from sunrise. John MC commented on the auto spell check. The auto spell check won't let me type analepsis. This time I believe it was changed to analysis. T-Con Christ is risen, sunlight for his truly is risen. Father Boniface, member comment, Christ is risen, benedicite, and hopefully we see him later, if he has the time. Say a prayer because Father Boniface is, he's got some medical things that we hope are going to work out great for him. Sunrise says, wrong mic, Father. Uh-oh, that is a serious problem. Let us check, because if that is true, then my audio shall be terrible. Uh-oh. Okay, all right, hold on. I gotta fix this. Gotta fix it. Because I sound like I probably sound like I am kind of weak. What's going on here? What do you mean? Oh, okay. Let's see here. Let's see if that does it. Uh-oh. Hold on. Hold on, guys, because we don't want this happening. Why do you don't recognize my input device? Hold on. Yeah, something's going on here. 1 second. Okay, whoa. Oh, that's good. Okay. The sound is great, but this is still not the right device. How is it sounding now, guys? Okay, it just died. It just died. Okay. Now it's got pass through, but I'm gonna try to close and reopen. Oh boy, what is going on? All right. This is let me see here. Hey, my sound is weird. How's the sound coming out now? It's because my regular microphone seems to not be communicating with the system here. I can hear this mic great. Very small mic. Let's see if we can get that working. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Can you hear me now? I think that should do it. Let's see here. How's it sound now? All right. Let's see if that fixed it. Yeah. It was. It's because the webcam mic comes on occasionally, and my main mic, which is my real one, I guess like I had to reset it. So glad that everyone saw that. I am just out of politeness going to skip any mic comments for now. Truly has risen Big Sosa. John MC says anti-Orthodox polemic streams are appearing on YouTube like mushrooms around a pine tree after a thunderstorm. See Historia Ecclesiastica why Eastern Orthodoxy is incoherent. 99 minutes of gibberish. Funny, someone suggested I should review that. So we gonna do that. Let's continue on. Yeah, okay, so that. Matthew, God bless you. Father Antonios, good evening. Right, I was still fixing. Okay, yep. Then all of a sudden, yep, got it. We finally figured out and got the right microphone on. So that's perfect. Okay, so let's pull up that title again. Historia Ecclesiastica. Okay, wait, it's 99 minutes. So I'm going to go for what I first wanted to talk about. So I have been trying, if you have noticed, on Twitter, I mentioned it in a post here on YouTube, that, we have debates tangentially set up. Okay. All right. Hold on. I'm like always there's like always a million things going on. So what I'm gonna do is let me put this up first, and then I'm gonna share something funny that happened on Friday, I think it was. All right, so let's share screen, and so let's see. Yeah. Okay, so I put this up because I put this up on Twitter because I was kind of frustrated. Technically, I have 3 open debate challenges. The one for Elijah Yassi is pending for September 25th. He got kind of upset I brought it up, but I don't care because, frankly, I'm getting kind of irritated with people saying, I'll debate you, and then finding a million ways out. The debate with Adam Koptic, we are in the middle of talking with someone a neutral venue, but they want to schedule it for August or September, which of course puts me back in the same place. And of course, mentioning the whole J Dyer on vocab Malone. Well, still no response from that, but that's okay. I'll just keep getting louder about it. I'm going to keep eating with it. And so let me go quickly to something that happened on Friday. I'm sure many of you are familiar with William Albrecht, and I occasionally, we had a bit of a brouhaha a couple months ago, maybe, and so what's it called? I saw that he was live, and I decided to challenge him on the canon of Scripture. And apparently, like, anyone could come on except me. So I went in the chat box and I said a lot of what you're saying is nonsense because they kept going back and forth on minor details related to the canon while not dealing with the fact that, the national churches each have biblical books. Wait, we have a caller. Sunrise, how's it going? What's your question?
Christ is risen.
Sunrise,
Can you hear me, Father?
can you hear me?
Hello?
Chat, can you hear him? What's going on here? Hello? Christ is risen.
Truly is risen.
Anyone here? What's going on? Okay, I wanna try to come back in. Maybe there's like an audio issue. All right, just try to come back in because I'm not hearing anything. All right. So apparently, because I decided to write in the chat, um, my old buddy and pal William Albrecht, apparently he had a bit of a freak out. I would say it was pretty funny. So I'm gonna put that up. It seems like I can't hear the guy. Alright, so that was around here. But in any case, when I can figure that out, my techniques are getting a bit worse. So Sunrise is back. Hello!
Can you hear my father? Oh,
Christ is risen.
truly is risen.
I don't understand. Wait, I'm okay. Okay, Brenda there, if you could be a little like, not, if I screwed up something, let me know. I think it's my mic. Okay, let's check the mic again. Why does it have a little thing there? It's not just. No, it's not. All right, so let's figure this out. It's back to dummy output. Hello? Does it
Hello?
work now?
Yeah, can you hear my father?
Yeah, I can hear you now. It is. I think I'm gonna need a new cable on this. I am confused as to why this is happening. So that's. Let me see here. So, well, hey there. So, what was your question?
I just wanted to say, Christ is risen.
Truly's risen.
And I was just calling in to tell you about the microphone things, but I guess you couldn't hear
Oh,
me.
okay. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been having this issue now. I first had it with a headset earlier on the weekend, and now this. So my guess is I'm gonna need a new cable.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the I think it was the cable because I just flipped it and it worked. So
Okay.
let me see here. Did I miss anything? Yeah, everyone's telling me I see it, Father.
I'll just join again, Father, if it messes up.
Oh, okay, sure. All right,
All right.
thank you.
Mm.
All right, and so, all right, so we've had a bunch of audio issues. All right, so let's see here. So I found this sort of amusing that they kind of. I went into their chat and I got deleted from it, so it won't matter if I show the display here because they removed me. But I'll just share this. So apparently, I mentioned that what they were saying was nonsense, and so this was the response. 2 minutes of apparently getting super mad at me, but not letting me on.
Because we have um, I believe his father, Joseph Swayden, in the audience right now. Father Joseph Swayden, who is saying that what he is hearing from us is nonsense. Father Joseph Swayden famously debated me on the Immaculate Conception. Was that 4 or 5 years ago, Father Swayden?
No, I actually debated you on the Immaculate Conception and Fatima, but the second video was deleted. And about a month ago, when I wrote you on Twitter because of something else, you said that I was crushed in the Immaculate Conception debate, which wasn't true. And then a Catholic found an unlisted link version of the video, so I immediately took it and put it up on this channel. And strangely, no one's seeing what you're saying. But he continues, and I feel like he starts to melt down a little.
And in our very first cross-examination, conceded the whole debate to me. So Father Swayden, with all due respect, whatever is nonsense, got to be very clear with you. What is nonsense is arguing against the Immaculate Conception. We saw how that went for you, my friend. So instead of just...
I did, and that's why I put it back up, and then you got mad and tried to contact Michael Lofton saying I was copyright claiming.
Acting the way you're acting in the chat, I know you claim to be a priest. Act like a priest would act instead of acting the way you act. act like a priest would really act. You don't have that character of the way a priest usually acts. Rather, you act unruly. You make ugly comments. Grow up, my friend. Grow up is my advice to you. That's my advice to you. Outside of that, I'm glad for that robust conversation. David, thank you for enlightening us. I didn't know you had spoken to him before, but still a number of problems I see there. Too many problems there.
I haven't spoken to him before.
Really. Yes, too many problems there. And I do hope he comes back with a solution. I have a solution for him, though, David. I have it, David. And Gary, become Catholic. That's my solution. Become Catholic, Kenneth. We love you. We love you, Kenneth. Become Catholic. That is my solution. Yeah, we love you.
If Father Sudan says this is it's all nonsense, I mean, I have no other choice than to go to their particular scholars. So if someone is saying nonsense, that's them. I mean, I'm sorry.
The non-canonical pseudo Father Swayton, by the way, let me be very clear. He's not even canonical. He is not even canonical. The non-canonical pseudo so-called Father Swayton, who, by the way, seems to be obsessed. I'm glad he doesn't know where I live. Guys, don't say where I live. He'd probably.
I found that a little bit, offensive, considering I had atheists trying to dox me like a month ago, and like this guy is like now saying that I'm like obsessed. I'm in the chat. He boots me out of the chat in a anyone come debate me stream. It's sad.
Probably end up at my front door. The guy's obsessed. But hey, I hope you're enjoying the show, the non-canonical pseudo Father Swayton. So yeah. By the way, we've got a good audience. People that are engaging. This is what we want. People, thank you so much.
I think he's done here.
Phenomenal.
That was people reacting. Albrecht reacting to me writing something in the chat. I wrote that it was nonsense. And I think the second thing I wrote when he started talking about like, oh, you don't act like you don't know how to act like a priest. And I was just like, why are you a judge of priests? And then boom, I was out. So this is the state of debate in the world today, guys. Guys who like to say, I'll debate anyone until anyone shows up. So, I can't believe this stuff. First, there was that Catholic Christian guy. I got to put the clip up later on because that was funny where he got so mad because I used the word heretic. And this is the state of things. These unbeatable, like super apologist guys who can't handle, statements in the chat, who have to like lie. And it's just the whole thing is pathetic. Ooh. Honey Badger BTC says, Willie about to cook? Yeah, I don't know what he's cooking. Sunrise says, I'm sorry I can't take any paper seriously when their popes didn't even seem to believe they are the true church. Yeah. John, David looks like a dollar store AP. That's offensive to AP. I mean, maybe if he ate at the dollar store, I don't know. But not that I'm dissing that. I've lived on dollar store food. I can't believe how many videos I see people are like, I lived on dollar store food for 24 hours. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I could live on dollar store food a few weeks. But in any case, John MZ says, act the way a Roman Catholic priest would act, smarmy, unctuous, self-righteous. Sunrise says, there you go, checkmark non-canonical on the bingo card. And it's coming from a papist. What do I care? Bob hit a nerve. Alexander S. says, Homo Catholicus. John says, just me or William to look like those blackface performers in that Judy Garland movie? I just think he looks kind of like a walrus. Atomic Lead says, projection abounds indeed. Sunrise, non-canonical phronema. You are a super uncharitable meanie, Father. Yes, and I'm obsessed with the walrus. John says, lacking nuance. Atomically says, on what basis does RZ distinguish canonicity? None, actually. To be fair, the answer is none, based on their canon law. Governor Nabduraka says, what does canonical mean to people in the 21st centuries anyway? It's marketing. John says we need Michael Lofton, the ultra charitable and ultra nuanced Sunrise. Yeah, I would love for Michael Lofton is for him to put up the Fatima Roundtable if he still has it, but I imagine he deleted it. Leonius 2000 with a member comment. Thank you for your support. Any thoughts left on Saint Victor Liu, the founder of Tecuci Synod in Romania? Since 2008, they've been in communion with the GOC Kyriakos. I don't have too many thoughts on him. I mean, I believe he was a real bishop. I think that I think going to Constantinople was probably a strategic mistake. But in any case, he tried to fix what he could before his death. So, or though it just says, if you have women priests, Brenda debates. Okay. Welcome. What's your question?
Hello. I'm trying.
Hi.
What's up?
How you doing?
I'm an atheist. And
Okay.
I'm wondering, you're Orthodox or Catholic?
Orthodox.
I get the sense. And I don't know much about the difference between Orthodox and Catholicism.
All right. So what do you want me to explain the difference, or?
Sure.
Well, the simple reality is we have the unchanged faith of the church since the Holy Apostles, and our church is decentralized. Our bishops come from the Holy Apostles, and we don't have a centralized papacy. And they kind of invented that in the 11th century.
So Catholicism without the Pope?
No, Catholicism had many more developments afterwards, including scholasticism. It's a completely different religion. We would say that we're the real Catholics.
Well, it's the same religion. It's just a denominational difference, right? Like
No,
between Protestants and Catholics, there's also a denominational difference.
No, we don't believe in denominations. We believe in one true church, and heretics and schismatics falling away from it.
Well, I don't know how you can say that. That sounds like you're just claiming things.
They made the same claim. The only reason the claims disappeared was because of the advent of Protestantism.
No, I think that there are different denominations of Christianity, and there are people with different opinions, but people are allowed to have different opinions, right? There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, not on dogma. If it's been handed down by the apostles and fathers, no, we can't deviate from it.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. Yeah, but they can say much the same thing. They have different arguments.
Well,
they have different opinions.
That's why we debate.
Yeah, they have different opinions, and people can come to different opinions. They're still Christians in my book.
But you're an atheist.
Yeah.
So in your book, it wouldn't matter if we're the same thing or not.
Why couldn't it matter?
Because if none of us have the truth, because there's no God, then our doctrinal differences would be irrelevant.
No, they're relevant to you. It matters to you. It matters to people, right? I can acknowledge that it matters to Baptists whether somebody they consider Catholics.
Oh well, yeah, of course, but I would assume in your opinion it's irrelevant.
No, it's not. It's irrelevant to what? I think it's all it's people, and people have beliefs, and I can acknowledge their beliefs, right? I can say, you believe that stuff. I don't happen to have a different opinion about it. I think it's incorrect. It's not true, but that doesn't mean people can't have beliefs. That's not what religion is. Religion is faith.
So let's see if I understand you correctly. People have a right to untrue beliefs. However, none of them are true.
No, all people have a right to believe as they wish, right?
I don't know that I agree with that. I think that if there is a true moral, background to it, if there is a real, divine command, then I think your reaction can't be que sera, sera. Either A, you're going to hell or you're not.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the difference between me and you. I'm a liberal in the old sense, in the Enlightenment sense. Liberal means freedom of conscience, right? That's what liberal means. Correct?
Sure. I'll
Yeah,
grant that definition.
yeah. You don't believe that.
No, I don't.
Correct. That's the big difference between us.
Right. But I would say that the concept of freedom of conscience, even if we use it in the classical sense, led to the massacre of many Christians in the hundreds in France. Then further in the communist revolutions led to the slaughter of millions. So I don't know that this what sounds like a what's the word I'm looking for? Something that protects freedom, in fact, immediately destroys it.
Yeah, communists are not liberals. They hate. They probably hate me more than they hate the right. Communists hate liberal Democrats like myself.
Right, but communism is a natural outgrowth of liberalism.
No, it's not.
I think so.
I don't care what you think. It's wrong.
I know. Now, your name is Brenda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wondering on that.
Welcome to the internet, honey.
Okay. Are you a dude?
No, I'm not.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah. Liberalism does not lead to Marxism. It's antithetical. It's antithetical to Marxists. Marxists.
I think a Marxist would disagree with you.
No, they would absolutely agree with you.
I disagree. I mean I pin the tail on. Are we really going to play pin the tail on the Marxist? I mean, I don't see.
It's pretty elementary. It's pretty elementary. It's like first year stuff, right? Marxists do not accept liberalism. They emphatically reject it because liberalism means people can believe what they want, and that's their system is totalitarian. It's not a liberal democracy. They don't believe in democracy or liberalism.
I would argue that they claim to believe both, but that's
neither
here nor there. We're talking about the end results, and we're probably going to agree that they don't truly believe that. But I would argue that they, in fact, claim that they do.
Right. So I would reject the idea that liberalism leads to communism. It's really antithetical to liberalism. A liberal democracy is freedom of conscience, freedom of expression.
Right, and I would argue that the Marxist would say that true communism has never happened. We've heard that story before. The point is,
Right, but you're not free in communism. It's a totalitarian state.
Well, in practice, yes, but they would say that was not true communism.
Well, yeah, and you say that Catholics aren't really Christians too.
Well, my point is that Catholics are not Orthodox Christians by any means.
Right.
But we do know the distinction between heretics and schismatics. Do they all claim the name Christian? Of course they do, but that's neither here nor there.
Has much the same structure as religious or dogma. Marxists have dogmatic beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I have liberal beliefs. I believe people.
Welcome, Father Boniface.
Benedicite.
Benedicite.
Well, we have an interesting conversation here.
Yeah, it is interesting. I'll say that.
I want to ask our friend here, what is truth?
Truth is so. For instance, if I say that, for instance, snow is white, is true if and only if, in fact, snow is in fact white.
So how is that determined?
By whatever relevant warrant or justification process that applies.
What process is that?
It would depend on the subject matter, right? So the process for determining if snow is white or not would be different than that from determining, say, what the weight of an electron is. Be very different.
So where did those processes come from?
The practice of various research programs conducted by people who look into facts about the world.
Well, I have a question for you because then I want to deal with long established truth claims. Oftentimes, when dealing with folks like vegans, for example, simple things like what is a person cannot fully be defined. They use hypotheticals. So,
Yeah.
I mean, however, historically, humans have known what humans are, as I've brought up in the past. So, my question to you is of what value are long established principles of things that people hold as basic truth?
I don't know. Person is a legal concept. It's not a. It's not
Okay,
a
well, how about a
scientific fact.
human? How about a human?
Yeah. Human would be a member of our species, then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't see what's the problem with that.
Well, it's just a question of, it's just a question of, can we use long established definitions? Honey Badger
not?
BTC says, what is a woman?
Huh? A woman is somebody who is in a certain social position.
So you wouldn't go with the general adult human female?
Sex and gender are two different things, right?
Well, that's not what I asked you. I asked you what
Yes,
is a woman?
yeah, you did. Woman is gender, and then you switch to female, which is sex. They're different things.
Oh, okay, well, I would define female and woman by sex, and gender should correspond to sex. And if it doesn't, I think it's something not real.
Except it just factually doesn't. Empirically, gender, it doesn't always go along with the person's natal sex.
It generally has throughout
No,
most of
it
human
does. It
history.
does. No, it doesn't. People are born with ambiguous genitals. Their sexes can be ambiguous.
Well, what do you mean? Can give me a concrete example?
They can have sex organs which are neither male nor female.
I believe you're referring to intersex people who have
Yeah,
both
yeah.
male and female genitals.
No,
They're not. They don't have
both.
like a nebula. Yeah, they do. That you should
No,
look at
they
the
don't.
intersex.
You're thinking of hermaphrodites, not
hermaphrodites is actually considered a slur against an intersex person. If you
Wrong.
go to the Intersex Society of America's website, you
Yes,
can
it
clearly
would
see
be.
that that's how.
Yes,
Yeah,
because it's
they
not
don't
what they
have.
are.
They don't have nebulous thingies. They have male and female.
So do you think
gametes.
an intersex person has both a penis and a vagina?
One usually dominates over the other, and that's
Yeah,
why
it's
one's
just-
surgically removed.
That's it's surgically
literally
removed.
meant.
No, you're
one of them would
completely
be.
ignorant. You're completely ignorant about
That's
this.
literally
It's
documented
completely
medical
wrong.
history.
It's
No, it's
completely wrong.
not. I
It
really
literally
think.
is.
I think you really need to look that up. I think you're actually wrong.
I'm very familiar. So yes.
So what's your name? I forget. What's your name?
Who?
You,
No, he knows. Father Boniface knows my name. We
My
know
name
each
is
other.
Brenda. Can't you see it?
Brenda.
Isn't it put-
You're
isn't it
right,
put-
Brenda. Do you make the rules?
No, neither do you.
Who does?
People do.
People make the rules.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we would say that God makes the rules. But if people make the rules, that was a temptation in the garden when
Okay.
Adam was tempted to make the rules, and then he fell and went into sin. And so God, who makes the rules, says, I'll enable you to return to real truth if you would turn from sin and put your trust in my way of salvation. And so, but aside from that, when men strayed from God and went ahead and started making rules and ordering the society according to their whims and fancies, that's where the world is in total chaos and confusion more and more until this day, when it is as confused as basically you are. So,
I don't think I'm confused at all.
well, that's your opinion, but
No, it's not- I think-
and I'm not speaking from my opinion.
No,
I'm speaking
I
from
think
a Christian
I'm-
standpoint, the Orthodox standpoint, that the whole world is confused. And
I'm sure you do think
know,
that. Yeah.
yeah. So
it's not the
anyway,
11th it's not the 11th century anymore, dude.
Well, regardless of what century it is, I'm pretty sure most of them outside of the 21st have been a little bit, most of them have been pretty clear. I just want to note for the chat, if you want to jump on stream to ask a question or make a comment, just
Yeah.
click the link in the top of the chat. Okay,
Right.
continue.
So,
Sorry.
so for some reason, your StreamYards doesn't put the name below the people. I see just the
I can do
icons.
that.
But
Hold on.
I can't address the Boniface. I think was his name. or
Father
something.
Boniface, yeah.
Yeah. There was no Garden of Eden. That it's a myth.
No, we don't
It-
believe that.
I know you don't, but there was actually physically
okay,
there was
sure,
no such place.
Can you demonstrate that?
So there, yeah, you need to prove your claim. I don't have to prove yours.
Well, the point is, our claim has a long history behind it, and
Yeah.
yours doesn't. So
Mine has actual facts and evidence, and yours does not.
really, well,
Yeah.
who created the Earth?
Nobody did.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
where'd it come from?
It came from a cloud of dust.
Oh, a cloud of dust. A cloud of
Yeah.
dust literally just kind of started forming people.
No.
Where did the dust come from?
It came from novas,
No,
Where did the novas come from?
stars,
Where did the stars come from?
other stars.
Okay, here we go.
You think this
All
is a
right.
god? Do you really think this kind of like 5-year-old kind of question is
Well,
like
when you come on and you're
problem?
like, when you come on a Christian
come on.
podcast, and then you suddenly are like, oh, well, the Garden of Eden wasn't real. Like, come on, what do you expect us to do?
Well, I would hope for somebody who is a little bit educated and not completely ignorant.
So, in other words, somebody who completely agrees with your worldview.
No,
Yes.
not at all. No, I've met plenty of Christians and Muslims who don't believe that Garden of Eden was real.
Okay. Well, I don't know any Muslims who would believe that. That's part of their teaching as well.
The Bible is part of the Muslim faith.
That's not true.
Yeah, it is.
They
believe that Jesus was a prophet. They believe he died on the cross.
Bible. They don't believe he died on the cross. They believe that he substituted someone else. You should know your Quran if you're going to claim the Muslim person position.
Yeah.
Anyway, what motivated your call? Let's get back to the beginning.
I like to debate people on the internet. I was watching people debate, but I saw an opportunity for myself to debate, and that always will trump watching other people debate.
That's fair. Was it the Super Friendly Friends show title that got it? Because that was my plan.
Oh no, I saw through that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just clickbait, isn't it?
Well, I don't usually do it, but then people don't show up to debate.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. So I am an atheist, and I do believe that the universe is like, what is it, 14.5 billion years old. The Earth is billions of years old. People evolved, right? All these things happened. There was no Garden of Eden. The book.
How do you know that? Were you there?
Well, I don't have to be there to know it didn't exist.
Well, what we have someone who God told how it came to be. That's not bad, but you don't have anybody who told you how it came to be.
Yeah, I do.
Who?
Reality.
Reality is not a person.
No, yes, but reality can tell us what happens.
Reality is not a person, like Father Joseph said.
I know, it's a metaphor, dude.
Well, dude, if we could, I would like to point to the fact that the whole gender as a spectrum thing is basically imaginary in the face of actual science.
No, it's not true.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
How come you're using the word true? Because you never told us what is true.
I told you.
You have no standard. Whatever. You don't even have a standard to actually believe that you could speak a logical sentence.
Sure, I do. Right? I told you what truth is.
Standard?
Truth
what
is
is truth?
Tarski's disquotationism, but you wouldn't have understood that, so I put it into words that you
define
can
truth
understand.
You define truth as Tarski's disvocationism.
Right, it's disquotationism. The sentence, quote, "Snow was white," unquote, is true if and only if snow was white, without the quotes. That means right? That the proposition snow is white will be true if and only if there is some state of affairs which corresponds with snow being white.
Okay,
Like
so let's try.
some system of warrant or justification which would allow me to make the truth claim that snow is white.
Okay. So based on that, then saying a woman is an adult human female should, in theory, work as well as snow is white.
It would fail though, because there are instances where there are women who are not adult females.
What?
There are women who are not adult females.
Can you give me an example?
Well, me, I'm transgender, so I am a
So
woman, but
so
I'm
you
not
were
an
born
adult.
a male.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm not an adult human female, but I am a woman.
A total mental construct from your own definitive
Yeah,
mind.
yeah. Language is like that.
But you were physically
Woman,
born a man,
woman
correct?
woman is a social construct.
No, woman's not
Yeah,
a
it is.
social construct. My mom's a woman. She is
Fireman.
not a social construct.
I didn't say she was.
You just said woman is a social
Yeah,
construct.
you
I think
didn't
if you told my
understand that.
mom that,
You didn't understand the English there?
were you born a male? You were, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that makes you a man.
No, it doesn't.
Explain to me how you are not a man.
Because gender and sex are not the same thing.
That didn't answer my question.
It did answer your question.
No, because
Gender
by
and
sex, you're
sex-
still a male.
Yeah.
So that would make you a man.
No,
Why not?
because gender and sex aren't the same.
It doesn't matter. Well, in that case, we've reduced gender to meaninglessness. So let's just
No,
stick
it
with
isn't.
what's
It's not
concrete. Of
meaningless.
course it is. It's
No,
your
it isn't.
feelings.
No, it's not feelings.
Okay, how did you become a woman when you were born a man?
I went through a process of transitioning from man to woman.
Okay, and what did that involve?
In my case, a great deal of therapy and a great certain hormones, and then I made a certain effort to transition and to allow myself to express myself as I truly feel myself to be.
Let me ask you a question. If you had not taken those hormones, you would, I presume, so retain all the features of a man. Basically, what you've done is
Sure.
hormonal.
Sure.
Okay. So that would
Yeah, there are
indicate-
transgender people who are unable to take hormones, but I would still say that they are women. They're transgender women.
At what age did you do that?
In my middle age years.
So you were
Middle-aged
you were,
years.
wait, so you were a man most of your life.
I'm not sure at this time.
No, you just kinda
Probably
indicated you-
less.
Okay.
No, it's about equal. It's about equal now.
Okay,
I
so
think-
you were
I
like
think
a
it's about
man
equal.
until like 25,
Yeah,
and then
yeah. What's
became
wrong
a
with that?
woman.
What's wrong with that?
Well, when you say what's wrong with that,
It's
I
just
mean now
new to it's just new to you. That's all. You're just unfamiliar.
it's not
That's
new to me. I
all.
knew drag queens when I was a teenager. The
I'm not
point
a
I'm trying to
drag
make
queen.
is, but I know you
I'm not
think
gay.
that,
I'm straight.
yeah. Well, technically,
No,
you,
no,
well,
not
you
technically.
like, yeah, because you're okay. I don't want to have to be the one to say this because it's hurtful.
You think I haven't heard anything?
I have no idea what level of knowledge you have.
Yeah,
so
I've had all the insults hurled at me. You know, go
I'm
ahead,
not trying
prove
to
yourself
insult
to
you.
be the real Christian. Start hurling
Well, I'm not
insults.
trying to insult
'Cause
you,
that's
but
all you people ever do.
scientifically, you're genetically still a man.
Yes. It
So
doesn't
you're
mean
a man.
No, I'm a woman.
So have you gotten into the
Because-
occult?
No, I believe in science. You believe in occult.
Really?
Oh, we know that there's a devil, and the devil is
yeah,
thoroughly
see?
entrenched with his demons
See?
in science.
See?
That's for sure.
No, science doesn't believe in the devil.
Why did they do a human sacrifice at CERN 2 years ago?
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
No. Prove it. It doesn't
Okay.
even if somebody did a human sacrifice.
The
They
problem is
murdered-
that even
They
if somebody
murdered
did,
somebody. They murdered somebody, right? Is that what you're saying? They murdered
well,
somebody.
no, I'm saying they ritually sacrificed somebody before a statue of the goddess Kelly.
That's murder, isn't it?
Well, it's not just murder; it's a circumstantial murder, and the
Yeah, but
circumstances human
it was a
sacrifice.
human being who was murdered sacrificially.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't believe you.
Okay. The point
So
is,
you can say that there's no murder, but it was a sacrifice because it was a religious practice.
Do
Is
you
that true?
understand? Do you understand that while not all murders are sacrifices, all sacrifices are murders?
Denise, God bless you.
Is that hard? Is that
Continue on.
hard for you to figure out, Father Boniface?
It's not, but the point
Right.
is that we're trying to pin down here certain things
No,
that you
no,
don't seem to
you're
want to
asking
pin
me.
down.
No, you're not. You're asking me like a smorgasbord of questions that you have in your pocket, right? Because you have somebody here who is willing to be open and honest with you, which I am doing, because
Well,
I am confident that I can defend myself. And so you're throwing everything but the kitchen sink at me, including your
really,
delusional belief that there was a human sacrifice at CERN. It's
that's
just
something
ridiculous.
you can do your own research on
Yeah,
that.
there was
I'm
no
not gonna.
human sacrifice at CERN. Nobody was.
Have you
no such thing
researched the
happened.
question or not?
Yeah. Oh, you mean, did I watch a YouTube video? Is that what you think?
No, I'm asking if you dug
I
into
feel
the
like I'm
question of whether there
talking
was
to
a
a
human sacrifice.
I feel like I'm talking to a flat earther. Is
You
yours
you
flat?
have a right to no the Earth. I do not believe the Earth is flat. I believe it's round.
Yeah. Is research for you watching YouTube videos?
Can be part of it.
No,
Sometimes
it's
there
not.
are interviews.
There's no part of research that is watching YouTube videos.
That's ridiculous. And videos, so
What do you
videos
mean that's
are
ridiculous?
incapable, are useless for research. Or is that what you're
Yes.
really trying to say?
Yes.
That's your opinion.
No, it's not an opinion. There's no part
It's a
of
fact.
research that involves watching YouTube videos. That's not what research is.
What if you're researching video evidence?
What you would do in my day, when I went to school, research meant you go to the library and you go to the card catalog and you go there with a set of questions that you have, and then you look it up and you pull the books from the library and then you read them.
I know how to use a microfiche too.
Yes.
But just for the audience's sake, I'm just asking this, and please don't be offended. Because I know that there's
it's
this
hard to offend me these days. I've gotten a thick skin.
Okay,
lately.
cool. Because I know that people get sensitive about the dead naming thing.
There's lots of trans people who would have freaked out on you by now already.
I know, and they would have hung up, but it's my show, and I like letting people talk. So, I mean, you haven't asked a question.
I asked you what was the difference between Orthodoxy and Catholicism.
Right, and I told you, and you said, "Oh, it's Catholicism without a pope," and I said, "No, it's not, because we have two very divergent faiths."
Partly in jest. It was partly in jest.
Well, how am I supposed to tell?
It kind of is. It kind of is. You kind of have a lot of the same. You wear the fancy dresses. You wave the smoke around, right?
We don't wear fancy dresses. They're robes.
You wear funny hats. I've noticed that religion is a lot about hats. Mostly hats. The Orthodox Jews wear their funny hats, and then the Catholics have their funny hats.
What's your real question? I mean, if you don't have any further questions, I mean, I don't understand. But okay, I'm just.
It's funny hats all the way down.
All right.
So you're throwing kind of funny words at us.
I'm trying to lighten
people throw funny words at you.
Boniface,
anyway.
I'm trying to lighten the mood. That's
I don't know if that's lightening the mood.
Funny hats.
I got a question.
Yes.
When did you give yourselves to the spirits to go in the direction that you went? You had to give yourself into that. When did you do that?
There's no spirits, dude.
Yes, there are.
Do you think I had a ritual and I sacrificed small animals or something?
No, you gave yourself into it.
No, I didn't.
You chose to reject God, and then you went the other direction into Satan's world.
I was an atheist a long time before I decided to transition. I was an atheist a long time ago.
Maybe the two things were related.
No, they're not related. There's lots of religious trans people.
Well, no,
Lots of religious
I mean,
LBGT people are actually quite religious group.
the reason I say that is because atheism allows you perfect quote unquote liberty to do what you want, and my point is that to that end, that's why you have a lot of LGBT atheists, and you have a
that's
lot of that.
common misconception that people are atheists because
Really?
they want to sin.
You want me to look up the religious stats on atheism and LGBTQ? I think you might be surprised there, buddy.
Yeah, I don't think
They're not a happy group of people. They're not. And, they're given over to darkness. And we want to see you come to the light and have a
Welcome,
happy
Reader
life and then go
John.
into eternity, you know?
Christ
That's
is
where we want to
It's
see you to
hilarious.
go so that you don't give yourself over to the demons.
Christ
That's
is
right.
risen,
There's no
Reader John.
demons. There's no
truly is risen.
no demons. No gods.
The demons are real. God
No,
is
they're not.
real.
No, they're not. Show me
Yeah,
one.
they are.
Show it to me.
Whoa, what did I walk into?
Well, this
What?
is.
Show me a demon, Father Joseph.
I'm not showing you a demon. There's loads of ways to find yourself a demon. I'm sure you know
How?
people who have.
No, I've never seen a demon in my life. Why would I believe in
And a lot of your associates you sure have.
No, I haven't. People.
Well, that's your opinion.
Father Boniface.
People.
I've
worked with them. I've worked with them out on the street. I know it.
Father Boniface.
I've met them.
People do bad things. People do.
Yeah, people that are energized by demons do bad things.
No, they're just people who do bad things.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
What did I walk into?
You walked into an atheist talking to a couple of Orthodox Christians.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're an atheist.
And it's really relatively polite so far, as I can tell. It's a little bit barbed. There's some elbows being thrown, but it isn't too bad, is it?
Well, Jesus had some elbows thrown at him. As a matter of fact, so many that they crucified him, you know?
Yeah.
So elbows are common out there in the world. And what he did was he took those elbows so that he might save men to bring them to eternity to be with him instead of going into judgment. So we're out here. Sometimes the Bible says, faithful are the wounds of a friend, but deceitful are the kisses of an enemy. And so in the spirit of friendship, we throw barbs, we throw criticisms, we throw warnings out to people to save their souls. And so that's what we're doing with you. We'll be frank and honest with you to see your soul be saved, because the spiritual world is there. Do you have a spirit?
No.
You don't have a spirit.
Right. I do not.
See, that's another lie that the demons are putting in front of you. See, because you do have a spirit. You will live for eternity. It's going to be in heaven or in hell. And the scriptures bear it out that Jesus rose from the dead. That's a historical fact.
There's no evidence for spirits or souls.
Sure there is.
What?
Well, demons, when they speak, that's one thing. When a person changes in their personality, that happens. And the fact that people see visions, and people have had visions of angels, and people have had visions of demons. And just because you say it's not real doesn't mean a thing.
That's just mental illness. That's just mental illness.
That's your definition.
But Father, if his worldview is materialism, then there is no room for spirit, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
what's
but
your
that's
name?
according to his own. His name is Brenda.
I would prefer that you use she and her.
Oh, so you're transgender?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I am.
I gotcha.
So when he makes his definitions, he's a world and a law and a God to himself. So therefore, how's that working for you? Sure.
Pretty good.
Well, according to the Bible, it's not working well, because you're going to head up in the judgment. And that's what we're trying to tell you. Jesus says, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. And no man comes to the Father but by me. His word is eternal.
Yeah,
yours isn't.
Those are just words, though.
But they have power behind them. They have power behind them because it's the Holy Spirit behind them. See?
Prove it.
Yeah.
Prove it. I don't believe
How do you want me to prove it? Well, that's,
listen.
Well,
it comes down.
Jesus said, the scripture says
listen,
that
just a
Jesus
second.
said, if a man were to rise from the dead right in front of the eyes of the people, they still wouldn't believe it. So you're no different.
Yeah,
Right.
well, that's my point. I mean, if materialism is where he's at, and there's no room for spirit, then it's going to be two ships crossing in the.
Yeah, I don't see how simply asserting something makes it true, and just because it's in your book doesn't make it true.
But that's also.
We don't just operate off of a book. This is
But
something
Yeah,
that
you
you
do.
would
That's
not.
all you got. All you got is a book.
Well, that's actually making a false premise. So you're making assertions, and you're saying it's not fair to make assertions, and then you make an assertion.
Yeah.
So you're asserting
I can
that.
back mine up. I can back it up.
Well, go ahead.
Back ours up too. That's
No,
not
you
the
can't.
point. Of course,
go ahead.
You haven't backed one up yet.
Go ahead and say what you have to say about your views, and then we'll say what we have to say about our views.
There's
and then
no
we'll see
evidence. There's no evidence of anything like a soul or spirits, right? And therefore, I have every good reason to reject the claims of people that such things exist, unless and until you can provide me with evidence that they do.
All right, I'm gonna like not pretend this is a null hypothesis, because this is a very common atheist tactic to say that there never was any of these things and I have no evidence of them.
Yeah.
We have evidence of everything from miraculous healings to people, not even just our Lord, being raised from the dead. We have massive compilations over the past 2,000 years of everything from near-death experiences to recorded premonitions and prophecies becoming fulfilled to
incorrupt relics, streaming icons.
Yeah, this is all stuff without
the verifiable.
Those are just stories.
Not if you're standing literally in front of an icon that is weeping myrrh. Do you know what myrrh is?
So all of these stories about icons and miracles and stuff.
These aren't stories.
These aren't stories. I've actually stood in front of 3 different ones.
If you look behind me at what I'm pointing, that's an icon that is still in Milan, Italy, that as of 10 years ago was streaming myrrh. That these aren't stories. These are things that happen in the real world.
And even people that are devout atheists that say, "Oh, it's just the resin from the wood coming out."
Yeah.
Well, even the scientists would say, "Yes, but the resin comes out from everywhere, all over the icon."
Of course, is it painted? Is it painted?
Usually, some
are carved, some are painted.
It actually has come out of prints, like photographic prints.
Yeah, it's come out of pieces of paper as well.
Right.
So you can't really make the resin argument.
I think I can.
No, actually, you can't.
I can just make the argument that what is more likely, right, that the laws of physics would be broken, or that somebody has told a fib or misunderstood something.
We're talking about things we can physically see. We're not talking about things we heard about 500 years ago.
That's like right now.
Yeah, they could be hoaxes.
How would you say that they're a hoax? I mean, what evidence would you provide? If you're an evidence-based man or woman or whatever,
I provided you an argument.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
You provided an argument, but you didn't provide evidence.
I did. I provided.
You're making assertions again without backing them up.
I gave you an argument. What is more likely? What is more probable that the laws of the universe should be suspended?
Well, you're talking about theoretical, but we're giving you an empirical piece of evidence.
Reader John, let him finish.
It's a probability. Okay. It's a probability argument, right? Which is more likely that the laws of the universe would be suspended, right? Or that some miracle should occur. And I'm saying that it's more likely, right, that the laws of the universe were not suspended, and that there's some other explanation in line with the natural laws that the world works on. So it could be either a hoax or a misunderstanding, so like resin or something like that, or the burial shroud, was made in like the 13th century, things like that. There's enough, and there's enough pieces of the cross to plant a forest of trees.
That actually was disproven in a study in the 1800s.
It's a Protestant argument. That's funny.
So
yeah, but there was
of
actually a Protestant historian who collected.
I know, that's funny. That's what I'm saying.
Century who actually collected the sizes of all the relics, and it actually would not equal more than a chest.
Yeah,
so it's not.
So the point is, it's more likely that the laws of the universe have not gone away from their course than for the miracle to occur. It's more likely that it is
to support your worldview, sure. Right? But if you're actually dealing with empirical data,
this is a statement of your faith. This is a statement of your faith. That's what you believe. See, that's all your faith, because you cannot give. You can say, I cannot fully understand how it happened, but there's got to be a natural explanation. That is a statement of faith by you.
Right.
So you do have faith.
Relevant argument based in probability.
Relevant to this, Conrad Cope, and I can back on this for even more with other cases, said, I saw a stage 4 cancer victim miraculously healed. Their doctors ran every test possible. Even the doctors said it was a miracle. There were tests done before the miracle. And we've seen this happen. I've seen cases.
That's called empirical data.
Yes, spontaneous remission is a thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is.
In every instance?
Yes, it's more likely that it's spontaneous remission than it's a miracle.
We're going back to theory again.
Yes, it's not a theory. It's an argument for probability. Which is more likely, that there's spontaneous remission is a thing, or that it was a miraculous interruption in the laws of the universe?
That's what a miracle is. An interruption in the laws of the universe.
Yeah.
But you have your other definition according to your faith. So you see, you have your faith and we have ours. And our faith says that I'm the resurrection and the life. And so he rose to prove he's right.
To poke holes in the spontaneous remission thing. So the context of majority of these healings, I'm not going to say all, but majority of these healings is they were ill before, they had contact with something holy, and then after that they no longer had it. So you would also have a timing issue with your spontaneous remission, because it wouldn't be so spontaneous.
What about all the cases where they don't and they just die?
Well, there you go. That's why I said majority and not all.
So you're just cherry picking. You're just cherry picking evidence.
No, it's not cherry picking. Here's the problem. Yeah, no, you can do that with anything.
It's literally what? Yes, you can.
I'm just picking at your logical fallacy.
That's why it's considered pseudoscience. Yes, because you can do that with everything.
The problem with this is that a lot of things were claimed to be pseudoscience that turned out to be valid science later.
Yeah, that doesn't make your pseudoscience true.
No, it does. The point is because our basis is not scientific, but on faith. So the point is, you're asking for empirical evidence, but the truth is you're only asking for empirical evidence to discount it. You don't really consider it something worth. Yes, it is. You just did that. You just did that with miracles. And the point is,
so you're not even doing a good faith. You're not doing
it. You need evidence. You need good evidence.
But you're right. But you've already pre-planned to discount it.
No, but your anecdotes and your stories are not evidence.
Pre-planned to.
I mean, what do you expect us to do in our live YouTube stream?
Are you looking for blind double testing on miraculous healings?
The multiple of anecdote is not evidence. It doesn't matter how many anecdotes you have.
They're
still anecdotal.
Okay, so in other words, even if they're research
without any justification,
but then we can just flip the same thing on you.
No, you can't.
Yeah, we can.
Go ahead.
I can make an assertion.
Go ahead.
And then you're going to discount it, and then you'll make an assertion, and I'll discount it. So who has the empirical data?
The one with the empirical data.
Yeah, and I just gave you empirical data.
You're engaging in what's called the fallacy. Even
I know. I just said you had a logical fallacy.
Okay, look.
Even if I give a bad argument for something, it doesn't mean that it's false.
Well, yeah, actually, I mean, it doesn't mean
Actually,
that it's
kind
true
of
either. But the point
Actually, it
is that
doesn't.
if we're talking about medical cases and we're talking about cases that are documented, and we're talking about cases that are documented by
not
actual
documented.
documents, they are documented. I was pointing to documented cases. Conrad was pointing to a documented case. We were not pointing to stories we heard.
You're pointing to spontaneous cases of
Well,
spontaneous remission.
No, no,
you
no, no, no.
can't
Stop,
you
wait,
can't
wait,
get
wait,
across
you have a
hold on.
timing
you can't
issue
get
then.
across to a
Hold
man
Wait,
who is flippant. You just
right.
can't get across to a man who is
Well,
flippant and refuses and mocks God.
Right, but Father Reader, give me 1 second here.
Go ahead,
Because
Father.
as soon as we brought this up, you said that was a spontaneous healing.
I said, what's
and-
more likely?
And no, but my point is this. My point is you've moved the goalposts because when we talk about miraculous healings that are attributed to our God, the Christian God, to our saints, so on and so forth, you immediately say it's spontaneous healing. What you're doing here is you're saying, I will admit that this amazing thing happened, but I will not grant the reason you think why. And the point is, that is a bad faith argument.
Do you accept the spontaneous healings attributed to Ganesh?
Do you have documented cases of spontaneous healing attributed to Ganesh?
Yeah, I bet I could
Yes,
find them.
and no.
I bet they exist.
I bet they do. No. The answer
I bet
is
they do.
no.
I bet Allah.
No.
I bet
The
Allah
answer is
has.
no.
I bet Allah
It's
has
still
saved
wrong.
a lot of people.
And this is my point. You could point to the flying spaghetti monster and say that there are things like that, but you know what you're doing? You're spouting off garbage. You're not creating a real case. You're just denying the reality.
There's people, there are healers all over the world.
Father, I think we're exercising
all over the world. Okay.
I think we're
shamanistic healers all over the world throughout all of human history.
You do realize that shamanistic healing, for the most part, actually uses natural remedies. It's not like it's miraculous. That exists everywhere.
They weren't medical doctors. They did spontaneous spiritual healings.
Wait,
that goes against your book.
Okay, let's try this again. Before the advent of modern medicine, most people in most cultures in everywhere around the world had things that healed them that worked, that were natural. Shamans, for example, do use actual things that we know are chemicals and drugs now. So the point is the idea that, these shamans didn't have any medical history, but it was all spiritual. Wait, all of a sudden shamans have spiritual powers, but Christians don't.
It wasn't medicine. It wasn't medicine based, right?
You don't
know
that.
A lot of things. They did a lot of things.
Are you a Native American?
They were not medicine based. They did a lot of things that didn't involve involved smudge grass, lemongrass and stuff.
Herbal and stuff like that. So
organic medicine or demons?
So it's demons healing people now.
I said organic medicine. Well, Andrew said organic medicine or demons.
Or demons. So demons go around healing people, right?
No, not generally. No, that's why I go with the organic medicine.
But they would to deceive somebody, wouldn't they?
Of course, there are. There are false miracles.
There are false miracles that can be used.
What's a false miracle?
A miracle, a supernatural thing done to deceive a person.
Right. So
psychosomatic
to lead them further into delusion and live a disordered life.
Demons have the power to suspend the laws of nature?
Not really, but they have the ability to deceive humans.
Right. So there can't be any.
They're LARPing God.
So there can't be any, because demons could deceive anybody, right?
Of course.
So there's no, you can't have science. You can't have knowledge then.
Here's, I have a question for you.
I don't think you can discount that.
If you can be deceived on anything, then you can't know anything.
Well, but here's the thing. Science
That's not ridiculous. That's the foundation of philosophy.
Science was
Descartes 101.
I don't think it's the foundation of philosophy, but if it was, it'd still be ridiculous.
It's Descartes.
Descartes' not the foundation of philosophy.
I could be deceived by
Descartes was involved in the occult.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
I think we're exercising charity to somebody who was already living.
I think I have to give you this. Among the talks that I've had with very religious people, this is one of the better ones.
Well, thanks. But
You need
go ahead,
It's a
Father.
low bar, but it is.
you need to consider if you are mocking God. And the sin of Sodom was pride, abundance of idleness, and fullness of bread. And so I'm not looking at, let's say, the sodomy, but their pride, arrogance, and in the face of God. And it's a dead end, and it's darkness. And I've worked with the gay community in one city, and they told me that it was lonely life, and it leads to just sorrow and despair.
Brenda.
But people are lonely because they're rejected by their family and they're rejected by society.
Well, you then come to God and be accepted.
But that should be the expectation when you live a disordered life.
It's not disordered.
Yeah, but their families are broken and society is broken. Well, God allows all that to show it that it's all sin and that they need a savior. That's the whole answer to the problem.
It's broken
Amen.
It's broken because people can be nasty. That's
because of sin. That's what it's all about.
It's not sin. It's because people can have very rigid beliefs. And
let me ask you,
rigid beliefs is cussing people out and beating people up and being nasty and kicking kids out of the house and selling people into whoredom and stuff like that. That's nasty stuff.
Yes, the LGBT community knows that well.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
and they've experienced the dark side
I don't think that's true.
They need a savior.
2020s, come on.
You're not making a good case for yourself there, Boniface.
Well, we're not trying to really make a case. We're just. I mean, Father Boniface's point is that loneliness is ultimately spiritual, and
self-inflicted at that point.
No, it's not self-inflicted.
Well, yes and no, but
it's caused by people.
Well, you can't. But one thing that you have to eventually take accountability for your own life,
for your own choices.
Yeah, you can't always be society's treated.
I mean,
blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord. Cursed is the man who trusts in man. See, so if you look to men, you're gonna get disappointed. You have to look to God. You can't put your trust in men, in government, in your friends, whatever. You got to put your trust in faith in Christ.
Let's be honest. When
hold on. Reader John, welcome Sunrise. You have a question or comment?
I might in a minute, but Christ is risen.
Truly is risen.
I mean, when did you become Brenda, for example?
It's none of your business.
Well, you came up here.
Wait, hold on. First off, thank you so much, Leonidas 2000 with a $20 donation. Thank you. I haven't asked for a donation because it's been so kind of crazy and feisty. But the question is the GOC more agnostic compared to other true Orthodox synods regarding the grace of World Orthodox sacraments? Article 6 of the 6th section of the Clinica Una document of 2014 seems to suggest they do. I don't know that that's the case. Reader John, you're in GOCK. Would you say that's the case? I don't think it is.
I haven't been around long enough to really make that statement.
I'll take leave and let you guys decide how many angels can dance on the head of a pin.
That's actually a post-schism medieval claim. That's Roman Catholic.
Yeah, that's Roman Catholic thing. Goodbye.
It's all the same to him anyway. So,
I mean, I would like to pose a question that someone said in the chat. This person was talking about how people can be nasty or hateful to gay people and etc. Well, how do you know what nasty or mean is in an atheistic worldview? I mean, there really is no definitive answer for what good or evil is there not? I mean,
it's a materialistic exchange at that point.
Yeah. That was different. I still don't understand. I mean, I guess maybe they just found us randomly and the amazing title roped them in.
Too friendly.
The super friendly.
He said that was clickbait.
Yes, but the clickbait worked.
I don't understand why it's inappropriate to. I don't understand why it's inappropriate to ask when he decided to become Brenda.
Oh no, it wasn't inappropriate. It was just that Sunrise popped on, and I wanted him to have a chance to talk.
He said that he did it in midlife. I asked him that before, and he said he did it midlife.
So how's that not a disorder?
Because I was wondering, how family was and stuff like that. No, that it is. But I want to ask Father Joseph if he could have a picture of a fishing rod with a mouse on it.
Yeah, I was actually going to put a picture of a fishing rod. It was too complex for me, but I wanted to put a picture of me holding a fishing rod at the end of it as a piece of chalk.
Interesting.
Anyway, I meant chalk as in CHOQ. Okay.
Yeah,
anyway, all right. Let's see here. Okay, to the Dolo says, so I'm sorry if I skipped a bunch of chats, but oh boy, that was long. So
I should have waited a little bit to come on.
I'm just gonna start under the super chat from Leonidas. Thank you for that again. Andrew Cameron says, what very well documented. Todd Theodola says, so what the LGBTQ does not understand is that God loves the people but hates the practice. Please come home to our creator. John MC said, so this person called up to get into a verbal altercation. What is there to do on a lonely Sunday night? Hey. There's a lot of people who have called in, John. Many people, and they're not all lonely.
But if you are lonely, you can still come up here too.
Yeah. Zach Kalina goes, and yeah, if you're lonely, you can always just jump on the stream. No, we're not agnostic at all. Gubba says, thanks, he's gone now. Lenia says, yeah, GOC Kalinikos, that's a member chat. Remember that if you don't do a super chat, the other way to get on the screen is to put on to join on that as a member. So joining one says, there are some people who want to express agnosticism, perhaps privately, but I found it to not be patristic. Alexander says, is there grace in the Soviet church? So joining one says no. Orthodox said he was getting attacked and left. No, I don't know that he was getting attacked. I mean, I think I don't know. I mean, I
if
think
we have a conversation,
responded ferociously, but I don't think that we were attacking. I mean, even he admitted he was like, "You guys were the most charitable," which is really kind of wow. Usually,
there's no way we were attacking. We used truth, and truth can be hard. I told that to him. Jesus suffered barbs when he talked about barbs. Yeah, his barbs cost him his life on the cross.
Well,
and
that's
so,
what
we turn around and we throw truth out there. And I said, faithful are the wounds of a friend, deceitful are the kisses of an enemy. We will wound in good faith for their healing.
John C. says, angels dancing on the head of a pin was from early 17th Protestant anti-Catholic polemic. I feel like I actually remember history about that question. Between I want to say between the Franciscans and Dominicans, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think that's true too.
But if it was, that's interesting.
I think that's where the Protestants got it from, actually.
Theodola says one more likely have private thoughts. Leonidas says, and the GORch, OCA, etc. Conrad Kemp says, I think I've seen his stream name on another channel. I know many people like him. Many have bad upbringings, abuse. All we can do is pray for them. Yeah, indeed. That's all we can really do.
Yeah.
Club has to go. I'd have to go back and check, but I think he said he was middle-aged when he transitioned to that, then walks it back saying he became a woman internally in midlife. Yeah, and well, I think it's because of that whole gender is a gender is a soup.
Gender is a fluid.
Right, it's a fluid. The whole point is that at that point you can just make it up as you go along.
Right.
Let me see here.
And how's that not disordered? Yeah, that was my point.
If you read Uncount Mount Press on the reception of heterodox into church, chapter 6 goes into detail why heterodox do not have the grace of God. Let me see. Well, it's back. So those condemnations can be applied to the world Orthodox. John says, no, I was referring to Brenda, not you all. Negative attention is still attention. Orthodox Field says, Father Boniface, what do you think about Albert Pike?
Albert Pike, he's the one that wrote Morals and Dogma, the Freemasonry.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I know where he is buried in Washington, D.C. What do I think about Albert Pike? Well, he was a Freemason. He was an enemy of God, unfortunately, and he heavily into the occult. And so, what more can you say? He wrote a lot. He was fighting God with all his might, I guess. So it's a shame.
Yeah, indeed. Reconquista, big sport with the $2. Thank you for keeping the lights on. Chances Brenda is a Jew, 99%. All right. Memento Mori says, correct, though they seem to confide that their actions with their own nature. Leonidas says, "Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks." Yeah. Tutedo says they might think that, but it's a spiritual and mental state. Mason, he wrote all 3 world wars. John MC, Dominicans, Franciscans were arguing about Thomas Aquinas, whether it was possible for an angel to transverse from point A to point B without passing through the intervening space. Marginally related. I wonder if there's more to that. Theodulis, Tooth came through exactly how they said they would happen. Albert Pike. So are you guys assuming he like kind of not prophesied per se, but kind of pre-wrote or had premonitions of the world wars, or that they were active plans? Is I guess the question. 1 second.
Well, in his time, the plans and conspiracies were well involved and well in effect. So just to say it's going to happen in the next generation is not much of a prophecy, because they were already doing that kind of stuff all over the world.
Yeah, I would say a lot that happened in the 20th century. It was concocted in the 19th century. And
before that. So, yeah. So these guys, this stuff has been going on for a very long time. Freemasonry has been going on, French Revolution, the Bolshevik Revolution, the Freemasonry involved with the establishment of America, the United States, that is, this kind of thinking has been going on a long time.
I was referring more specifically to like British Freemasonry, which kind of forms our foundations, as it were. So.
Yeah, Theodore says, no, it was planned. The world wars have been planned, and they were planned a long time ago. As you can see, the target for today, I'm going for 700 because we have a lot of bills, and we've taken it down from 725. So if anyone wants to come on, Black Ortho Acolyte, thank you for supporting the stream and keeping the lights on. It says, read a post about a World Orthodox saint censuring priests for rebaptism. When do you think the difference between World Orthodox and True Orthodox saints began? Do you think we'll continue to grow similar to Rome's post-schism saints? I assume you're talking about Dimitri of Dallas. I am still not. Did they actually elevate him to the quote-unquote sainthood? I don't know that they did. And somebody pointed out that priest is kind of almost has a kind of a devotional following to him too. But as to the question, I would say that really see the difference probably around 1960 to 1970. That is because really people before the 70s, like if the World Orthodox could, they would rewrite their history. Like they did with Saint Mircea Diocesa, and yeah, it's going to continue eventually. We can never there's no way Gabriella Papayani can ever be part of the saints of the church because she was a massive ecumenist and semi-Hindu. So yeah, thank you for that. So we're starting to see that process now, is what I would say. So thank you for that, Black Ortho Acolyte, and I will add that to the total. And that's there. And so we put that back up. Now the target is 690 for this this broadcast. So we're gonna see here. Let's see what we got. So yes, there's more to it than that. No space in chat stream. They did not mention anything about the head of a pint. I assume the Protestant pamphleteer used pinhead as rhetorical ridicule. John MC says pin. Reconquista says eating carne asada while watching NFTU. Great night. It's been interesting, I'll say that. I'm being short because it's a big discussion. Memento Mori says, who was that? I don't know what you mean. Did you mean the last donor? That's Black Ortho Acolyte. And he donated $10. And if you'd like to do the same, just use the links in the description, or use the just use the YouTube feature. Gubba says, I'll be honest, I've used that criticism, scholasticism, not claiming people really argued that, but just rhetorically to make the point. The central point is that they did have really, really dumb arguments in the scholastic period, and that may have been an exaggeration, but there's so many others that weren't.
That's why it's not scholastic.
Orthodox Field says, who are you calling pinhead? Memento Mori says, who was the Western Orthodox saint? Well, the discussion was on Twitter, and someone called Dimitri, the former Archbishop of Dallas of the OCA, Dimitri Royster, for who my best knowledge of him is that he, knew Lee Harvey Oswald in some ways. And
well, they've taken pictures of him.
Yeah.
Posthumous.
Yeah. So, supposedly that they want to say he's a saint. I guess the last one with the Holy Grandma didn't work. Or didn't kick. I don't know. Lane is 2000 with a member post says TOs criticized Dimitri about Dallas for being received into the OCA by chrismation. Wasn't Father Seraphim Rose received into Rocorps by St. John Maximilian through chrismation? Yes, both of them may have well been received through chrismation. We know that St. Seraphim Rose was. However, Dimitri of Dallas died relatively recently. I myself was Orthodox while he was alive, and he was not that great a bishop. He was very restrictive on the use of the church calendar, only allowing it among ethnic parishes that were senior citizens. Yeah. He had a lot of not good things going for him, and I'm just not even talking about the Kennedy thing. The point I'm trying to make is that please don't assume that the reason we're criticizing him is because of his chrismation. Trust me, he had more than enough wrong with him for us to criticize him.
More being an ecumenist.
Yeah. Memento says, I don't think that's the issue. No, it was not. All right. So we are in the 27th minute of the second hour. That first hour was definitely different, and but that's what we do here on Sunday nights at the Super Friendly Friends show.
With clickbait.
But not that friendly.
All right. Anyway. All right. So anyway, we do. So whatever you guys can do to help keep the lights on, please do. Our target right now is at 690. And of course, because it is a live Q&A stream, if you want to jump on the stream to ask a question or make a comment or issue a challenge or surprise me, just click the link at the top of the chat. Let's see here. Orthodox Traditionalist Publication says, what's up? What's up?
You miss Brenda.
Yeah. Brenda. I was going to ask, is it Brandon? Because everyone just assumed it was Brandon. It could have also been Brendan, though. So
stick with those two.
Yeah. So that was part of it. Past that, not much. We watched a video of William Albrecht to get kind of like over me showing up in a chat room. But past that, people have had some interesting questions. Alexander F. says he said Orthodox Traditionalist Publication, I got your Florence books and St. Philip's complete works. Thanks, man. Yep, Father Antonios, Bishop Dimitri, another who accommodated Monophysites. Very true. Mm-hmm. So, that's it's good. All right. So again, if you want to jump on the stream to ask a question or make a comment, just click the link in the top of the chat. Otherwise, let me see what else is going on here. Anything anyone here wants to report that's new or interesting or talk? Oh, we were going to review a movie. Not a YouTube video that was like 99 something minutes. Let me just see. I was just getting there, then Brendan showed up. So in any case, wow, this went far. I'm sorry for all the people whose comments I missed. It's just that it turned into lots and lots of them.
Kind of glad I missed the first part.
Yeah, I'm looking.
We'll put on a Jay Dyer video for your reader, John, to make up for it.
Oh gosh, I don't want to throw out. Come on.
I always put up Jay Dyer's visit to Ruslan again.
Ugh, gross.
No,
I'd rather watch Transgender at this point.
No.
Is Matthew still in the chat?
He may be. He hasn't popped on the stream. I was almost sure he was going. Historia Ecclesiastica: Why Eastern Orthodoxy is Incoherent. All right, here we go. Hold on.
What perspective is I assume they're coming from the Roman. Catholic
No idea. It's either going to be a Roman Catholic or Anglican, probably.
Okay.
Or it's going to be one incoherent criticizing.
This is definitely Roman Catholic. Oh, this is I can already tell is going to be awful. But let's do it. All right, let's click, and we're gonna click, and we're gonna put that full screen, and
we're not doing all 99.
Hold on, I'm just gonna. Okay. Yeah, why Eastern Orthodoxy, quote unquote, is incoherent. Problems with ancient schismaticism. Schismaticism. All right, so let's see what else we got. What's this? Oh, okay. Tote Adulos. Hold on. I'm scrolling back down. This is important. Where is it? It's important. Here it is. Tote Adulos, thank you so much for helping keep the lights on with a $20 donation that says orthodoxy or death. Exactly. That is the truth right there. And so thank you for keeping the light on, and what a great message. Let's add Tote Adulos to the total. And thank you so much again. And so we're going to just put that there. And there. So we are down to 670, everybody, and thank you again for that, Tote Adulos. So very cool. And let me see. Debt to compromise says LOL. Debt to compromise. Elite says what? Donut what? Man, Sunrise says Matthew, where you at? Memento Mori says another Hispanic True Orthodox brother. And Gova says just a carne usada enjoyer. Alexander S says 12-hour stream. No. I hope not. I've already learned. Studies have shown, basically my studies, that the longer you make a stream does not necessarily guarantee that you will make your goals or anything like that, and then you're just tired and miserable and poor. And I'm already poor, so why be tired and miserable? Memento says, fair point. Gubba says, to be fair, most people wouldn't. I don't think many people wouldn't like. I don't think many people wouldn't like good gisada. Yeah, that's true. Carne gisada is the bomb. Leonidas 2000. During your debate with Father John Whiteford, he claimed that there's probably more old believers in Russia than true Orthodox. I'm inclined to agree with him. I'd be inclined to agree with him too, because the old believers are very numerous in the Russian state. I wouldn't deny that. But they're a weird cult that have nothing to do with Orthodoxy. There's also probably more Muslims in Russia than true Orthodox, but they make us a substantial part of Russia now, and they compete with the Moscow Patriarchate. So that doesn't mean anything. Alexander S. for a big $10. Thank you for the lights. We really appreciate it. And we thank God we don't have to do a 12-hour stream, but we are getting closer now. Okay, wait, I'm confused. Hold on.
Yeah, I think
okay, I'm not confused anymore. Okay. So that is 660 we're down to.
I think listen, learn, Father. If you want to do a 12-hour stream, you guys got to prepay.
Yeah, 12-hour streams must be prepaid. But according to the guest, you can't use YouTube to reach us. I thought that was the most ridiculous thing on the planet. YouTube, in some ways, while it does have a lot of junk information on it, is also a place where you can learn virtually every marketable skill to some degree, even car repair. I mean, the idea that YouTube is not a valid source of information is insane. I mean, we're on it. So, anyway, as always, if you want to jump in the stream to ask a question or make a comment, click the link at the top of the chat. Reckonke says, yes, Orthodox Spanish, FYI, new book out this week or next. Looking forward to it, OTP. You've been releasing some amazing books. I personally recommend The Council of Florence and The History of Resistance. Alone, those two books are extremely important. Memento says, what is the book Subdeacon Nectarius, Orthodox Traditionalist Publications, subject release when the email comes out? If you do not get his emails, get on the email list by going to orthodoxtraditionalist.com and signing up.
That was clever there, OTP. Getting new email sign.
Alexander says, OTP, is it on the monophosites? I heard it might be, but oh no. He said, Alex, no, I haven't started writing that yet. Okay, let's continue on. Okay, whoa, another one. It's from Black Ortho Acolyte. Thank you so much for helping keep the lights on. He says, seems that once a schism has endured long enough to have different and opposing saints, the schism is permanent as none will give up their beloved saints. Any examples of this in church history? The Uniates. As soon after Josaphat of Polotsk was glorified and he was murdering Orthodox and mistreating them and persecuting them, they put him in the calendar among the Uniates. And from then on, they really promoted his cultists very heavily among them. And, that's go ahead.
What about St. Peter the Aleut? That'd be kind of hard with the Roman Catholic.
Well, yeah, that's pretty, that one's he's a pretty divisive saint, but their technique is to try to say he wasn't real. And that's insane, but that's what they do.
Well, there's people in World Orthodox who don't believe he's real.
What?
I said there's people in World Orthodox who don't believe he's real.
True.
That's embarrassing. That's a shame. Well, that may be.
My Go Arch priest, he told me, he was probably more just a combination of different stories or something like
That's
that.
all right. They have.
But that's actually a manifestation of what BHO is talking about as well.
Well, they also consider St. John of Shanghai to be a schismatic still.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them do.
Very true. So I'm going to add that to the total, and now we're down to 650. So let's keep going. Let's see what we can do.
Hey guys, throw in some for the green drink. Come on.
I've been out of green drink now for weeks. I've been to make up for it. I've been trying to drink a lot more water, and I have been taking fish oil and these probiotics, which all naturally were in the green drink. But since I don't have the money for green drink, I'm just trying to see what I can do.
Come on, guys. It's got Chuck Norris. Come on.
All right. Leonidas 2000 with a member chat says, you claim that there's 15 to 25 million Orthodox throughout the world. As far as I can tell, there's only 2 or 3 million. No. In fact, there are more than that in Greece alone. So no, I think there's at least 4 to 5 billion claimed in Romania. So that alone would be 10 million, and that's not counting Bulgaria, Russia. So no, I don't. I think your information there is wrong. But we thank you for being a member and for the super chats. Maxim Chintalov says, "Have you seen Father Peter here's a reflection on the Western Rite and Orthodoxy?"
Oh, gross.
I haven't, but I have a feeling that's going to have to wait till you've seen it, Reader John, because I haven't.
No, I have an aversion to Jay Dyer and Father Peter hears these days. It turns my stomach.
I saw him. I watched the thing on it. Whether it's that exact same video or not, I don't know. But the question would be, why would someone want to criticize a rite that is well established in history? You think that they would want to encourage faith and encourage the Western saints, because they're there.
Yeah, but
it's like, why criticize something like that? Why not encourage it? Because
I think it's because the Western Rite and World Orthodoxy is so Romanized and Anglicanized that it's not honestly reflective.
I'll give you even a shorter answer since it's Father Peter. He's a lover of Father John Romanides.
Mm-hmm.
So anything West, no bueno, right?
Well, his father was in the Western Rite.
Yeah,
and they decided to switch over.
In Western Rite, that was all.
Maybe he's got daddy issues. I don't know.
So Father Peter Hears would know about the true Orthodoxy, and he would know about Vladika John and the liturgy that he has in the Metropolia. He would know that.
No. Here's the thing, though. His extent of true Orthodoxy does not reach past Hogna. Whenever he compares anything to true Orthodoxy,
he just compares it to Father Panteleimon, basically.
Yeah, and then also, he's a guy who also admits that that Serbian monastery out in California also alters their text, yet he promotes all that kind of stuff. I mean, he's a walking contradiction. Well, he calls something out, but then he accepts it. You know what I mean?
I will say about that video, I did watch it. I think he kind of makes the fair point that a lot of the people in World Orthodoxy who are Western Rite don't really drop their previous beliefs, you know? You know, a lot of the Anglican and...
They don't have to. Have you
they
seen the
don't have
Western
to.
Rites?
Yeah, you're right. I was just kind of saying that is the point that Father Peter makes, is that they don't drop it, but obviously they don't have to, because they're not told to.
Especially the Antiochians, right? Because the Antiochians, you literally just, like when I was looking at them, it was still, what was his name? Pope Benedict. They just popped the Pope Benedict picture off the wall and then put their local bishop that was under the Antiochians on the wall. That's the only thing they changed.
Yeah.
Well, the Antiochian ritual is taken from the British, from the Book of Common Prayer.
Yep.
And it was just tweaked in an Orthodox direction. I was answering a person on that question today, but I said that the Metropolia, they took the original, the Latin texts from the cathedrals over in early England and translated them from Latin into English. So there you go. We went back to the original and we just continue to promote it. But to take the Book of Common Prayer and tweak it is a whole different story.
Yeah, it definitely is. Now, Theodolos says, sorry to say I lived in Greece 30 years. I don't even think we're 1 million, might be wrong. I might be wrong. And then Leonidas, who had a membership, said there's only 500 to 800,000 TOs in Greece, a little over 1 million in Romania, and a few 100,000 in all other countries. I'm sorry to prop this bubble, Leonidas and Theodolos. I will say this, that there was a 61 or 62 census conducted in Greece, which had 1 million true Orthodox in Greece in the early 1960s. Our numbers have gone up and have not gone down, so you may be surprised. And as for your numbers, Leonidas, our numbers came from the Moscow Patriarchate's own estimations of 2 to 4 million in 2019. So unless they've radically shrunk in the past few years, and that's the argument you would have to make.
Those numbers sound like the ones that GoArch kind of pushes, to be honest.
Those aren't, I would say that the numbers that we actually have seen indicate that it's closer to 2 to 4 million, which would be, 15 to 20% of the population. I don't write the rules. So anyway. Let me see here. Again, if you want to jump on stream to ask a question or make a comment, just click the link in the top of the chat. We are in the 43rd minute of the second hour. Now, this is, again, Leonidas has a source, and the source was Moscow Patriarchate press releases that came out when they came to Greece. Those have been taken down, but I'm sure they exist.
To swing back to the Western Rite real quick, though, do you consider the Western Rite to be noble and part of the Orthodox patrimony, but it has to be like the real deal, which is what you see in the Metropolia.
Barnold asks, can we see your face, Father? Well, sometimes I shut down the camera because I might want to get like a drink of water or something, but here's my face. So there you go. Yeah, like I've been revealing it for like most of the stream, so... In any case, Stupid Albertan says, do the numbers matter? Well, they don't matter in terms of truth, but they do matter in terms of accuracy. If people are coming off of shock over the past few years, as they've realized true Orthodox are everywhere, we're very visible, we have a case for ourselves, and people like the Diorites have been lying about us and saying that we don't exist. So, Theodolos says, all in all, Greeks are 10 million. I seriously doubt that 4 million are old calendar, though. I don't know. I thought the numbers were closer to 12 million, but I'm not Greek. But I do know that the time I visited Greece and the time our bishops have visited Greece, a lot of the feasts have had thousands of people. And of course, the counter that they've come up with to the fact that we have had large celebrations, etc., like that, is that Greeks will just show up to anything. Well, eventually you gotta start asking, okay, so is it just that it's
all a lie? Is everything a lie? I mean, how
they
many
might be
people are
making
showing up at new calendar churches? We haven't asked that question. We know how bad it is in Russia.
Yeah, there might be a distinction between those that are baptized because we do have baptismal records.
Yeah.
And those that are practicing, which you can't really verify unless you're actually there.
And that's a reality that we all admit to. So.
That's everybody, yeah.
Okay, Arnold just got here. So that's where we are. So basically, again, I'm looking here. We're gonna review this, and I'm gonna go for a little while on it. I don't know how bad it's gonna be. If it's really awful, we're gonna clown it and dump it. But let's get started with this, and then we'll see. If you want to keep reviewing it, obviously the super chats and donations. If you want to use Cash App, etc. I feel we should really just support the channel. We at NFTU need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating at NFTU.net with various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, LTC, or XMR, or on Give, Send, Go. Just look in the description. It really does help. And so, yeah, super chats are great. Direct donations are also awesome. So the Adolo says 10.41 million as of 2023. Okay. So I guess I thought that it was 12 million, but it's probably less. So that
was 2023. It's 2025. They might have had some more kids.
Yeah, but that fact alone is why our numbers are higher in Greece than people realize. All right, so let's do this. Let's get this screen up, and we'll see how long we can go with this. If it's terrible, we will clown it and drop it. And if people want us to keep going, well, you can always donate.
Yeah, that's Roman Catholic.
All right, so we're gonna definitely Roman Catholic. And I'm going 1, 2, 5.
Hello and welcome to Historia Ecclesiastica. In this video, as promised, we will look at the incoherence of the doctrines, the moral theology, and the canons of the Greek schismatics, as well as all Eastern so-called Orthodox communities.
All right, before we go on, I do want to note that there's a few things we should note here. They're pointing at the divorce thing. They've put up birth control, which is really a modernist thing, and Bartholomew. But okay, that's neither here nor there. So let's get started.
And the canons of the Greek schismatics, as well as all Eastern so-called Orthodox communions. We will pray from the 1962 Good Friday bidding prayers in the Latin Rite. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen.
Okay, we'll
Let's pray also for heretics and schismatics, that our Lord God would be church. Pray by the disk and the union of the Son. Subscribe.
Sounds like a set of economists.
All of your thoughts. Also, you may become a member if you want to join the Scholarium, a community of scholars that are intending to pursue what the university was always meant to be. Consider becoming a member of the channel to do that. This video is, of course, provocatively as well as accurately titled Against the Greek Schismatics rather than the Greek Orthodox. Of course, I am being more inclusive than just Greeks. We are going to talk about.
Wow, he's rejecting his own saint.
And the reason I chose such a provocative and also, of course, accurate title is in order to, in fact, turn up the temperature.
He's just really trying to be like extra annoying here, so that's fine.
Of complacency that both many Orthodox and Catholics feel toward the grave sin of schism, which around 250 million so-called Orthodox Christians cling to today. In recent months, I have received a number of comments from viewers about their recent conversion from Catholicism to Orthodoxy. I've also received critical comments from Orthodox Christians criticizing Catholicism. In my experience, reading through these comments, as well as talking to my friends who have considered or have in fact become Orthodox, and also in my own personal discernment in my earlier life when I did consider becoming Orthodox, I am convinced of this. The appeal to Eastern Orthodoxy, so-called, amongst traditional-leaning Catholics and Christians, is an appeal to a vibe of traditionalism, but not to doctrinal orthodoxy, which the Orthodox churches, ironically, do not possess in fullness. One's decision of which church or ecclesial body, in the instance of the Protestant sects, to commune with must be founded upon an ecclesiology, which seeks to determine, above all, what the church established by Christ actually is. The Eastern Orthodox, the Eastern Schismatics claim to be the church established by Christ, and they do claim that the Catholic Church is, in fact, a fallen heretical sect. But this is wrong. In this video, we will examine why the Nicene Creed's 4 marks of the church, the criteria of ancient Christianity to distinguish between the true church and heretical ecclesial bodies, do not apply in fullness to the Orthodox churches. Further, we will examine the recent doctrinally confusing and, in fact, incoherent positions, especially moral positions, of the various Orthodox synods, many of which, as we will see, are akin to the infamous German synodal ways moral positions. Although when the Orthodox Church advocates for these morally reprehensible behaviors and permits them, the Orthodox Church dresses up these horrible moral teachings in aesthetically traditional garb.
Okay, this is first off, that was one of the most trash intros I've heard in a long time. Like that was offensive in so many different ways. Who's that a picture of on the right? He's
one of those Catholic traditionalists that being left behind by their own church.
Yeah,
I mean,
the language is very similar to like Peter Diamond.
It's like he's a step away from Sedevacant, to be honest.
Well, at least Peter Diamond has to give some credit to the Diamond brothers. Their crazy positions, you can get the feeling that they believe them. This kind of feels lazy. I don't like the fact that he basically was like, well, they're converting to like a traditional vibe. Like, shut up, dude. Like, we know what we believe.
He's rejecting his own saint, though. I mean, John Paul II, which they consider a saint.
Well, this guy might be a sedevacantist of some kind who doesn't recognize John Paul.
Well, yeah, well, maybe, but maybe not, because the way he was speaking, it sounded like he still might be part of that church. But
we'll see. I'm curious about that picture. John MC asks, what's the difference between old believers and old ritualists? With priests or other terms used interchangeably? No, they're not. If they're talking about old ritualists that don't have priests or that aren't part of a synod, it starts to look more like the Anabaptists and stuff, that's splitting and different weird religious and heretical beliefs, often akin to Protestants or Killists, etc. All right, let's continue. This picture, though, gets me because this looks like that picture looks so familiar.
What is it? I can't see it.
On the right, the 3 bishops there, because it looks like they're actually. Let me see if I can make it bigger.
Oh, 3 bishops? I bet they're French.
No, these are Greek bishops.
Really?
And I feel like he took one of that's Archbishop Metropolitan Petros and Archbishop Leonti. He's using a picture of True Orthodox.
Really?
Yeah, he's using a picture of True Orthodox, even though in reality
he's attacking the World Orthodox.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
The Catholic Church. These claims have never been lacking throughout church history. Yet in the wake of the Second Vatican Council, many Orthodox Christians have proposed that their traditional liturgy is a modern sort of foil to the modern.
All right, you know what? I actually just managed to speed read through this, and this is stupid. We're gonna skip it, and it's gonna take him about a minute and a half to read. We don't need to hear that minute and a half. It's garbage. While calling the Orthodox, does not contradict my admiration for Eastern piety, dude. Stop.
Oh, he's a walking contradiction. Okay.
Yeah, he just he loves the Uniates because he knows his Latin right has been totally decimated. 4 marks of the church: discerning the truth church Christ established, short catechism on the papacy, patristic views on Peter, patristic views on the papacy, cracks in the Orthodox. This is like, okay, I know what kind of video this is going to be, and it deserves its own video. I don't even know if it deserves its own video, but it's going to be mostly sedevacantist blah blah, and then we're going to get to all the birth control though, and what about divorce though, and I'm voting on clowning and drowning.
Well, traditionally, we're more Catholic than the Catholics. Then.
Well, I think obviously all the critiques are going to be of the modernist
World Orthodox.
Yeah. So
is this worth watching? Is this worth us discussing?
I think if you support Father's green drink habit, we could continue.
Yeah, if someone wishes to donate to my green drink fund through Cash App or through PayPal, so I don't have to take these probiotics from Walgreens. then the show shall go on. But otherwise, I am probably going to drop this one just because a lot of this is kind of stupid, and I know what it's going to be, and it's going to be refutable, but long and boring, and maybe
he's just regurgitating from other people that seem to be a bit more intelligent than him.
Yeah. Let me see here. Maxim Chentilov says, I think the old ritualist is a generic term for those who use the old Russian rite. Old believers are only in communion with other old believers, and old believers are the old ritualists in communion with the non-old ritualists. I think that, I hate to say, but old ritualists and old believers are usually also interchangeable terms. Leonidas with a member chat points in 1983, the GOC under Archbishop Andreas anathematized old calendar ecumenism. He did, but that was because of a misunderstanding of what was happening between different old calendar groups. They weren't all recognizing each other. Journey one says, do you have the text, Leonidas, of that anathema? That one, I believe, can be found. I've seen it before. Which group has it? I want to say that Father Mark in Canada's website should have it somewhere because I have seen it. So, but I don't have it handy. But I would check Father Mark's website under the.
Is that Rosie?
No, he's Matthew White.
No. I'm saying with the. I'm trying to remember what website that was.
Well, it wasn't Monastery Press. I know that. Give me just a moment.
No. It's not Monastery.
Let me try to see if I can get an idea of where to find it. Hold on.
I know it just sounds like one of those texts that the ROCIE would add.
Yeah, let me see here. This is on the Afrosinos Cafe. I've seen that there was. Let me see if there's a link. No, it doesn't have it. Although I really should refer more to the cafe on a lot of things.
If only we had an encyclopedia of true orthodoxy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to point to Father Mark Smith's website. That's one I remember if it's still around.
Well, there's supposed to be like a TOC wiki something or other.
Yeah, but that's still a work in progress. A lot of these are okay. You have the text. I posted it in the chat. If it was like an HTTP or any sort of
you
website.
Can't do it unless you're a moderator or the host.
Yeah, you have to be a moderator or the host to post that. But if you can remember the name of the church website or just read that just put that in by itself without putting any dots, then I should be able to find it and I can put the link myself. I don't know. I don't see any new chats coming in, super chats or anything coming up on that. So let me go here. So my guess is that the audience is bored of it too. John MC says, I'm an old timer from NYC. NYC is full of such experts, Betty T, RC theologian layman. They overlooked much unpleasantness inflicted on Orthodox by the Vatican in the 20th century. Yeah, of course they do. It's very typical.
Yeah, but they reject their own documents like ut unum cinct or stuff like that.
And so, I mean, I'll try to see if I can go a little bit further. One. Okay. This is, honestly, this is bad. It's weak. I'm sorry. If enough people ask, by enough people, I mean more than 10, I'll do a specific episode reviewing this and taking it apart because it doesn't deserve to be treated very handily. Oh, look at that. I'm looking at my Twitter. Death to Compromise has made a phishing thing for Chalk, which I will be using for next week's thumbnail. So we're here in the 17th second or 19th second of the third hour. We've tried to cover a video. We've had an interesting time here, and there have been a number of donos, which I really appreciate. Hopefully there are more, but I'm actually going to end this. I think if everyone's okay with it, unless I missed a topic or something.
I was sad to see Matthew not join because he said last stream he was reading Saint Ignatius.
Yeah, well, people are busy. He was in the chat, but then he disappeared.
Yeah, well, he has to have time to absorb it.
Yeah.
HC says this may be a bit off topic, but do you have an opinion or stance of Our Lady of Fatima? Yeah, she was a demon. That's my honest opinion. Because anyone who could entice so many people to stare in the sky to go blind, that doesn't sound.
Oh, do you know who's latching onto that apparition?
Yeah, well, I mean, I actually had a Reason in Theology round.
No, Father. You know who else is latching onto that? The UFO community is now.
Yeah,
because of the sun bouncing around and all that.
And also because of the description of the women in the earliest descriptions, they say that the description makes them sound like they weren't human. They looked like aliens.
Yeah, and like how even though it was a rainy day, they were all dry, and they're thinking it's like radiation or something. I'm like, what?
Leonidas says, a genuine Orthodox priest under the Omophore of Metropolitan Kyriakos, it will be under the encyclicals section. All right, give me a second. I'll put it in the chat. And I put it in the chat for historical reasons. I do not agree with that particular encyclical. I think it is kind of ridiculous, but I will do that because I am a plain dealer.
He's transparent.
Not with those clickbait titles, Father.
Hey, we're super friendly people here.
Just because I'm a straight dealer does not mean that I am not, not willing to use clickbait. I mean, I never did before. I probably won't next week, but we'll see. Let me see here. Yeah, this is Father Mark Smith's site. And then or it used to be. And then that's where it is. Let me see the encyclical against old calendar ecumenism from 1983. Keep in mind this came out around the same time as the traditional anathema against ecumenism. So
calendar ecumenism.
Yeah, this one's not the same, and it's different. We could even do a show on it if enough people are interested, but we'll see. Okay, and so let me see here. Outside of that, yeah, I think we're gonna call it. Yeah, that was a good trilogy, John. See, I cited a few of those things in that Fatima Roundtable that Michael often won't reveal, and William Albrecht pretends doesn't exist.
Come on, guys. Green drink and some carne asada. Come on.
We're not ending the stream until we get $40,000, Father Joseph.
Then I've done 6-hour streams. That's not the way that it works.
Nope.
So I think once we've done our 2 hours, hopefully we've provided some quality information. And so glory to God. I think we're gonna call it call it for the night, and we'll continue on during later in the week. And so God willing, we can catch up. And so, just real quick, I just want to say thank you to everyone, to our guests, even Brandon. To our listeners, to those who had questions and comments, and to those who support our mission. Support the channel. We at NFTU need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating at NFTU.net and on GiveSendGo. We remember all of you in our prayers, and thank you for all the support for NFTU. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. And through the prayers of Holy Fathers, Jesus Christ, our God, have mercy on us and save us. Amen. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night.
God bless. Amen.